it's Michelle, and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. We have a lot of juicy royal tea to get through today, so you know what to do. Sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but I really do miss the old days where you receive Christmas cards and letters in the mail. There was something about running to the post box and getting yourself a letter where you would rush to open it and read it. Sometimes you'd have to wait a couple of days in between mailing one to get one back. So I thought it would be really fun this year if you would like to spread a little bit of some holiday cheer or Christmas cheer. We can do a Christmas card exchange. Now, I do have a P.O. box that is listed in the description of every one of my videos. So if you would like to receive a Christmas card from me, mail me a Christmas card with your address and I will send you one back in the mail. That way we both can enjoy a little bit of the holiday spirit. Now, keeping up with the spirit of Christmas and Christmas cards, a brand new story came out that a remarkable collection of Christmas cards have come up for auction. A remarkable collection of royal Christmas cards covering almost every year between 1953 to 1989 have emerged for sale. Now, the cards were kept by Commander Sir Philip John Roe, who was the Deputy Treasurer to Queen Elizabeth II between 1958 and 1968. Now, the Christmas cards are being sold on the 28th of November alongside his impressive group of medals and coins. They're being auctioned off by auctioneers Woolley and Wallace of Salisbury, Wiltshire, and they're estimated to go for around £15,000. Now, the charming array of festive greetings show the changing face of 3 generations of the royal family over 4 decades. King Charles was 5 years old in the earliest card and father to Princes William and Harry in a later one. How interesting to watch the span of Christmas cards and the family grow and evolve. I love that. There are sweet images of Charles and Princess Anne as children in the 1950s and Princes Andrew and Edward in the 1960s and the early 70s. The 1960 Christmas card shows the family on the front lawn at Balmoral with baby Andrew while baby Edward appears in a pram in 1964 with the family huddled around it. I would just think this would be a wonderful piece of history and a collection to have for yourself. So what do you guys think of this very interesting and rare insight into the royal family? And will you be bidding on these Christmas cards? So today we're going to do a deep dive into these 7 bombshell revelations that have come out ahead of the publication of Omid Scobie's book, Endgame. Now, I know all of us out there who have more than 2 brain cells know this is a book of fiction by a very vindictive little man who really hates Prince William. He has a vendetta against Prince William and the royal family. The fact that he's considered a royal reporter is questionable because he isn't. He was kicked out of the Royal Rota and is known as the unofficial official mouthpiece of Harry and Meghan of Montecito. He got fired, or what we call a freed up future, from his job at Yahoo as their royal reporter because he wasn't a royal reporter. But we all know where his bread is buttered, and Omid Scobie is the unofficial official mouthpiece of the duo from Montecito. Now, his number one source apparently is a friend of the Sussexes, or quote, family members of Princess Eugenie, and how funny she came out publicly and spoke positively about Prince William and King Charles. Sounds like someone's doing a little bit of some scrambling over there, but in my opinion, everything came from Harry and Meghan. Whether it was through their friend, it was still through Harry and Meghan, because some of these stories, there's no way anyone would have had that information unless it came from the horse's mouth, which is Harry and Meghan themselves. So let's go ahead and dive into these 7 bombshell revelations. Now, one of the very first revelations was that King Charles told the family to be very cautious and not to trust Prince Harry or Meghan. I mean, can anyone blame them? Now, according to the French magazine Paris Match, they said Endgame reveals a message that was circulated in the royal family telling them not to trust Harry after his memoir Spare was released. I mean, duh, can anyone blame them? It's kind of hard to open up to someone who is continually trashing you in the public for money. The journal reports that a source close to the king said that Charles was cautious after Prince Harry called him to pass on his best wishes 3 weeks after the book was published. I mean, is this guy simple? Is he dumb? Why would you betray your family and then have the audacity to call and be like, hey, what's up, Paul? How's it going? By the way, you might not want to read that book I just put out because I trashed you pretty bad. And he's wondering why people are distant. It says the king wanted to limit their discussion to a harmless exchange. Concerning Harry, the message that circulated in the family was not to trust him, and everyone took it very seriously. I think they would, considering the fact they started with the Oprah Winfrey interview, and then he came out with his book, Spare. Now, I don't blame the royal family one iota for doing so. I mean, what did Harry and Meghan expect? I told you before, they're going to say, hi, how are you? How's the weather? Have a nice day. The end of the conversation. I think Harry didn't really think things through and realize he's going to have major repercussions for his actions. Now, the bigger revelation is that Meghan reportedly told King Charles that there were not 1, but 2 royal racists within the household. Meghan accused 2 people in the royal household of airing concerns about her son Archie's skin color. The Duchess of Sussex is said to have written a letter to King Charles to outline her concerns about the comments. I'm sure she used her wonderful penmanship to highlight all of those points. Again, how did Omid Scobie find out about this mythical letter? Now, Meghan had alleged, of course, during the Oprah Winfrey interview that somebody had made comments about his skin color before he was born. The Sun reports, however, that the second member of the extended royal household, who may not have been a member of the royal family itself, also made similar comments. Now, Omid Scobie does not name the 2 alleged royal racists in his book Endgame, and he says he knows who they are, but he cannot name them for fear of legal repercussions because it's probably 100% false. So obviously he knows he doesn't want a lawsuit. Now, this is one I find hilarious, that Harry is, quote, ready to forgive and forget, and he doesn't care if he doesn't receive an apology. You mean forgive and forget the actions that you and your wife have done and attacked the family for money on numerous occasions? You're willing to forgive and forget, and don't worry about that apology. Let bygones be bygones. I actually know people like this. It's called Narcissism 101. They are the ones who cause all of the drama, all of the pain. They inflict it on other people and then want the people to apologize to them. And then finally they're like, you know what? Let's just let it go. I'm willing to forgive and forget. Let bygones be bygones. Let's just move on from this. Meaning they know they're wrong. They never want to be held accountable. They're never going to apologize, but they're willing to sweep it under the carpet because they want to make peace. But again, it's like you can't ask people to forgive and forget. When you are the person who did it, you never own it, you don't apologize, you're not accountable, and then you just want to sweep it under the rug and just let everyone forget all the hurt that you caused them because you're bored and you want to move on. because you have other things that you need from them, so you need to play nicey nice, aka Meghan Markle pretending to be Snow White. I'm the nice person, I'm so nice, I'm willing just to forgive and forget, and who cares if I don't get that apology that I was never entitled to in the first place. Let's move on. Now, the book suggests that Harry would be ready for a reconciliation with his family, with the prince reported to have said, get an apology or explanation. At this point, who cares, right? Obviously, the royal family isn't going to give you anything that you don't deserve. Now, the claim emerged yesterday in Paris Match that last week it was suggested there was a thawing of the relationships between King Charles and Prince Harry when he made an alleged phone call to wish King Charles happy birthday. We still don't know 100% if this phone call actually took place, but I can guarantee you this book is not going to help with those frosty family relationships, son. You ruined it once again. And this is another one that's my favorite. Meghan doesn't want to return to England, the royal soap opera. You mean the soap opera that you actually started, sis? You know, this is a typical narcissist. They burn all the bridges, they do mass destruction, they hurt people, and then they move away, and the person that they're married to has nothing to go back to. And they're like, well, you can go back if you want, but I'm certainly not going with you. I mean, there's nothing left, you know, carnage and ruin and hurt feelings and broken relationships. But I mean, hey, Harry, if you want to go back, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. But I'm going to sit over here. I'm not going back because they're not giving me my apology. And quite frankly, I don't want to face the music. Have a good time. Bye. See you later. That's a typical narcissist. She cannot face the music because she is a coward, a narcissist, and she knows 100% what she did. She doesn't want to face the music, so therefore she's telling people, I never want to go back to the UK and face that royal soap opera, the one she started. Now, according to the book, they are saying that Princess Anne is the one who persuaded King Charles to evict these Sussexes as a form of punishment. Harry and Meghan were given Frogmore Cottage as a wedding present by the late Queen before being kicked out in January, 24 hours after the publication of his book, Spare. Now, the Sussexes had paid over $2 million to renovate the property and were determined to hold on to it for their UK base. But according to Omid Scobie, they were told they had to move out, and this was a form of cruel punishment. Now, the French magazine Paris Match reports that the author will claim it was Harry's aunt, Anne, who encouraged Charles to initiate Frogxit as part of a strict approach towards the wayward couple. Now, I personally believe that it was actually William and Catherine, because you have to remember they are now living at Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate. They're literally 8 minutes away from Harry and Meghan when they go to Frogmore. And I can guarantee you the Welleses do not want their children anywhere near Harry and Meghan. So I believe it might have been a mix between Princess Anne and the Welleses, but 100% it was King Charles's decision. And right after the book came out, he definitely gave them the boot, and in my opinion, rightly so. Now, according to the book Endgame, when Harry found out he was being evicted, he said, don't you want to see your grandchildren anymore, to his father. He also believes that Prince Edward was concerned about the prince's mental health. Well, I'm sorry, but you kind of left your mental health woes at the door when you inflicted a lot of pain onto your entire family. My sympathy level is -0 for little Prince Harry's mental health. He certainly didn't care about anyone else's mental health in his family. He even accuses the king of being more worried about the pressure on Prince Andrew in the wake of the Epstein scandal. Well, why wouldn't he be concerned? That is his brother. Is he not allowed to have feelings of concern for a brother? He can only have concerns for Harry. Harry is the only person in the entire royal family, according to Harry, Meghan, and Omid Scobie, who's allowed to have a bad day, who's allowed to have a mental health break, who everyone needs to hold and coddle and hold up and make sure that Harry and Meghan are okay. They are not the only two people in the royal family who've had hardships and pain. Andrew, whether you like him or not, he's still a part of the family. So Charles is obviously going to care about his brother. He also cares about his son, but his son is attacking him. His brother, on the other hand, is not. So is he not allowed to have concern for other family members, according to Omid Scobie, that how dare Prince Charles be concerned about his brother because he's not doing everything for Harry. Meanwhile, I think he's done too much for Harry, and look where that got him. A spoiled spare who's now acting like Judas and attacking the family. The other claim is saying that Harry was kept in the dark about the Queen's death and William ignored his text messages about transport to Balmoral. The Duke of Sussex was kept in the dark about the Queen's health in the hours before she died, according to Omid Scobie. Now, the Endgame author recounts how the Sussexes, who had visited the UK for a series of engagements in September of 2022, when the palace announced that Queen Elizabeth had been advised by her doctors to rest, he writes, by the next morning, the Sussexes had no idea that Buckingham Palace was already planning for the Queen's final hours and the first days of the monarchy's new era. It wasn't until Harry's phone started ringing from an unknown number that he normally ignored, but of course his little wife Maggie, saving the day, told him to pick up the phone, and that he picked up the phone just in time for his father to let him know that he needed to come to Balmoral immediately. He continues, Harry hadn't spoken to his father much that year, but this was not the time for a father and son tension. Charles told him he and Camilla were about to leave Dumfries House for Balmoral and that Princess Anne was already by the Queen's side. He told Harry to make his way immediately to Scotland. Now, Harry sends a text message to William, but William ignores his text. My question is, did William even know that was Harry? Harry has been known to change his phone number several times to the point where William at one point didn't have his phone number. So did William even know who was texting him? And I'm sure William's phone was probably going off with 9,000 text messages, and he was frantically trying to figure out with his wife what to do with their 3 kids and how to get himself to Balmoral. He wasn't just sitting there going, oh, it's Harold. I mean, I'm sure the guy had 1,000,001 text messages, and he had a lot of stuff going on at the same time. I'm sure it was a very stressful time for everyone. But again, it's always about Harry and Meghan. Heaven forbid the man who trashed you and put his knife in your back 100 times publicly is upset because you're not sitting by your phone awaiting his text message. Again, so self-absorbed. All about Harry and Meghan. Heaven forbid William has something going on at the same time. He later said that Harry had managed to secure a flight with his uncles, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. It was upsetting to witness, according to Scooby-Doo, told by a close source to Harry and Meghan, wink, wink, you mean Harry, that he was completely on his own. Oh, poor little Prince Harry. Once again, it's like people keep thinking they need to coddle little Prince Harry. He's the only person who's ever had a bad day. It's like, have you been around the royal family? Have you seen the pain and anguish these people have dealt with? But Harry, he just has to get special attention. Now, Scooby-Doo alleges the palace sources briefed certain newspapers that Charles had personally shared the news of the Queen's illness with his son. Well, if he phoned him and told him, you need to come to Balmoral, the Queen is sick, is that not telling Harry the news? It sounds like, to me, like it is. Now, according to the insider, he felt betrayed and Harry was left crushed that the news weren't personally shared. The author adds that Charles asked Harry to come to Balmoral without Meghan. So that kind of contradicts what you just said. You're saying that Charles briefed the newspapers, sharing that he told his son of the Queen's illness, and then he called Harry on a number he didn't recognize and told him to come without Meghan, but then you're saying that he didn't share the news with Harry and that Harry was crushed. So somehow I'm losing this in translation because it sounds like he called him and told him it's time. So again, why is Harry crushed? I don't get that. So according to Omid Scobie, there's absolutely no going back for Harry and William, that William considers him to be a defector, and I 100% agree with that statement. He's also a traitor. In the extract shared with People, he claims there is no going back for the brothers, and absolutely nothing has changed since the Duke of Sussex released Spare earlier this year. Well, why would it change? Has Harry called to apologize? No. Well, then why would William and Catherine bend over backwards to make it happen for a person who was repeatedly attacking them? I don't understand. Harry has made no effort to apologize for his actions. Instead, he wants the family to apologize to him while he badmouths them and while he attacks them. So again, I'm a little confused as to why they think the relationship would be better when Harry and Meghan have done nothing to make it better. Now, according to the book Endgame, he alleges that William doesn't want to know his younger brother, who he feels has been brainwashed by an army of therapists. Again, Prince Harry is no longer the little brother that Prince William knows. He is now Meghan Markle's husband. He has changed 100% to her flying monkey. And I do believe he has been brainwashed by all of these repressed memories that are all of a sudden coming up, and they're not doing him any favors. Again, Prince Harry has arrested development, and he is still stunted at the boy, age 12, who lost his mum. Now, another story has come out that Catherine and Meghan have not spoken since 2019. Now, I can fully believe this 100% due to the fact, one, that Meghan was barely in the royal family for 18 months, not to mention she spent half of it on a honeymoon, a baby moon, and then maternity leave before she jetted off to Canada around October, November of 2019. Not to mention Catherine, who had been a duchess for over 7 years, just gave birth to little Louis. She had 3 children and her own royal duties to attend to. She don't have time to fight with Meghan Markle. Also, Meghan came into that royal family like a bull in a china shop. She was like, I'm Rachel from Suits, y'all. I'm here to modernize the royal family, according to me. Now, we all know that Meghan had zero interest in learning royal protocol. She didn't care. She wanted her way or the highway. She made everyone's life, including her poor staff, walk on eggshells. She threw temper tantrums. She wanted her way. Again, the royal family did everything they could to appease her to a certain point. But you know, immediately after she got married, they split up the royal households. They left Kensington. They went over to Frogmore Cottage. They split up all of the charities that William and Catherine and Harry had been working on together for years. And they came up with Sussex Royal, where Meghan literally tried to trademark the name Sussex Royal and told the Queen, you don't owe the name Royal. I mean, I can trademark it if I want to. Hello, I'm Rachel from Suits. So I'm sure by that point, Catherine had enough of Meghan Markle, not to mention the way she treated her children, the way she had treated Catherine. And then, of course, when they go to America, it gets even worse with the Oprah Winfrey interview. Then we had Catherine and Meghan meeting up in 2022 for the walkabout at the Queen's funeral. And you could tell that Catherine stared down Meghan Markle, and you can tell Catherine was like, say it to my face, biatch. Say it to my face. You got something to say? I'm right here. Let's go. And Meghan looked like a scared little church mouse, and she scurried away like, oh. And even Harry looked like he was like, oh, Meghan, run. Oh, Meghan, she's going to throw a punch. Like literally, Catherine looked like she was going to eat her for lunch. Catherine was like, don't mess with me, sis. I got your number. Don't mess. Don't mess. I'm going to clean it up. So Meghan looked like a scared little church mouse, and she was cowering in the corner and afraid of Catherine, because we all know that Meghan Markle is a narcissist. They take no accountability. They're like a dragon, breathing fire and a path of destruction, destroy cities and families and homes, but they can't deal with the wreckage because Catherine was not playing with her anymore. So all those fake little, oh, we sent Christmas gifts and they didn't even bother to send us a text. People don't want your presents. People don't care about your kids. They don't want pictures of your kids. They want you to shut your pie hole and to quit lying and trashing the royal family. So I 100% believe that Catherine wrote Meghan off. They tried to get with her. They tried to accept her. They tried to teach her things, but she didn't want to learn anything. She came in like that bull in a china shop, and I think after a while they had to wipe their hands of Meghan Markle. So the seventh revelation and bombshell is that William is power hungry and that King Charles is unpopular. Now, according to the cover of the book Endgame, he writes, this is a penetrating investigation into the current state of the British monarchy, an unpopular king, a power-hungry heir to the throne, a queen willing to go to dangerous lengths to preserve her image, and a prince forced to start a new life after being betrayed by his own family. Aw, little Prince Harry, once again, the victim. And you're trying to tell me you're not biased to Harry and Meghan? You're doing the whole woe is me in a fairy tale form. Again, he's always trying to portray little Prince Harry as a victim. So this whole thing about Prince William being power hungry is false. If anyone has been watching the royal family, they have literally nicknamed Kate and William the work-shy Waleses. Why is that? Because they put their children first. They have 3 children, their youngest being 5 years old. If you remember King Charles, I believe he was around 5 years old when his mother became queen. That is very, very young. So William and Catherine have made it their life mission to make sure they have a solid foundation for all 3 of their children before they become king and queen. I don't believe for one moment that Prince William is trying to bulldoze his father and overstep his father, and he's ready to become king tomorrow. We have to face the fact that King Charles is going to have a very short reign, probably 10 to 15 years tops. He's already 75 years old. But the fact that he's trying to insist that Prince William and his father have, hit head to head, and that he's trying to overstep and he's power hungry is not true. They're also stating that Camilla will do anything that's dangerous, anything at all to preserve her image. This is a woman who has been battered and abused in the press for 30 years, labeled the Rottweiler, the other woman. She has never received good press. Even now, as the queen, there's still so many negative comments. But what has she done? She has kept her mouth shut and continued to do her job. He's even labeled Kate as lazy, and she's only good for photographs. Again, Omid Scobie is a little weasel of a man who has a bone to pick with the royal family because he was ousted out of the royal rota, and you cannot convince me he is not the mouthpiece of Harry and Meghan, because he's always acting like Harry and Meghan are such innocent little baby victims, and they are not. And this whole thing about King Charles being unpopular, Charles actually has done very well as a king. Many people were very doubtful that the monarchy would fall after Queen Elizabeth passed away, but in fact, they are thriving. They are doing very, very well. So much so that Prince William was the most popular person in America. Have you seen the crowds of people greeting Catherine and William, and even King Charles and Camilla? They are doing just fine, carrying on the royal legacy. So in my opinion, this is just a very sad attempt to make himself relevant in the royal world of reporting, because he ain't got a job anywhere else. So in conclusion, I can already tell you this book is a big nothing burger with a lot of falsehoods and opinions from Omid Scooby-Doo fed to him through sources, aka Harry and Meghan. So what do you guys think of these 7 revelations? Do you believe any of these stories? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. Well, guys, that is all the royal news that I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And make sure you check out the Royal Daily Tea merch, because you can get it right now for 15% off. Everything will be linked for you in the description down below. And if you like today's content and you are not yet subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.